Sponsored by the Dunleary Rathdown Local Enterprise Office. You're listening to Business Eye with Joe Dalton and Simon Haigh.
Good afternoon and welcome to Business Eye on Dublin South FM with me, Simon Haigh, and my good buddy here, Joe Dalton. And of course, this programme is brought to you by the Local Enterprise Office of Dunleary Rathdown, hashtag Making It Happen. So we're here on a Friday afternoon. It looks like it's going to snow out there.
Well, I was driving up in the car, Simon, and I was looking. It's about 8 Celsius, and I know that there's a weather storm coming in. Storm Kira is going to be hitting our shores tomorrow morning. So for everyone out there in the area, and especially on the coast, keep it safe. Keep it safe on it.
Absolutely.
How's your week been?
It's been a busy week.
It has, yes. I got your text last night.
Yes, it's been a down and an up and a down and an up week, but it's great to be at Friday, and it's amazing, you can get so wrapped up in stuff and take it personally and get really angst, but at the end of the day, just take it easy. Just take it easy.
We are controlled by our thoughts. It's really and truly, isn't it? We are. We're controlled to something may, pop it in an email, or you might get that letter in the post, and it kind of can nerve you. And it's how you react to that in business that makes a difference.
Yeah.
Which is, it's one of the reasons why this show, we feel that it's speaking to business owners, as I say, keeping it real, making things happen, speaking to people on the ground. And that's why we have some wonderful guests in here today to share all their knowledge and wisdom.
We have 3 guests. It's a busy room.
It is indeed.
Shall I go around the table? So to my left, starting off, we have Thomas Crotty, who's a digital marketer. Welcome, Thomas.
Welcome. Thank you very much. Nice.
It's nice to see you. And I know we've been in touch a couple of times online, but we haven't actually met, so this is great to meet you.
Fantastic. Meet you face to face.
Likewise. And then to Thomas's left, we have Eddie Stack, who is BNI Executive Director, Dublin and South, and owner of ES Digital Media. Is that right?
ES Digital Media, is sold now. And
okay.
Thomas was on to me about updating my LinkedIn profile before I came in.
You're a happy man. Anyway, nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Nice. And then finally, Owen Laverty, who's Head of Enterprise and Economics at Dunleary Rathdown County Council. Is that right?
That's right, absolutely. It's a mouthful.
It is.
Yes,
but a very important job.
That's a big title on a card, isn't it?
Well, it's very long cards.
Yes, and it's a job that is helping so many people around the county as well. Like some of the stuff that you're doing. I have to say, you are very active. Over the last couple of years, I've seen, I'm a big fan of yourselves as well, but you are very, very active. So what's the secret? What changed?
So, we talk about what makes a successful business. We were having that chat earlier on.
Yeah.
And I think, I come from an entrepreneurial background, and it's always, if you don't look after the client, and if you're not client first and adding value, then you won't survive in that space. So that's the mantra we use, and it very much is embedded in the office. I always say to the team, if you have a question, think about, is it the right, whatever answer you come up with is the right answer for the client or not. And that's your guiding light. That's your guiding principle.
I can vouch for that, because I've never told you this, but I came down to your offices, I think it was about August last year, and I went into the Leo office there, and I have to say the service was excellent, right? I didn't expect it, because my previous dealings with government bodies have rarely been good, but it was excellent.
I'm
so I just wanted to say that on air.
Thank you very much. I mean, it's
was it a mindset where you kind of went, okay, we're not running this as a government institution, but we're going to run it as a business to help businesses?
I think there's a couple of things. I mean, you look at having come from, we're all in business, and we all have constraints, and there's all things we know we don't have time to learn and to get to. And so I guess I'm lucky in our space that we're funded well enough.
Yeah.
You know, and so instead of doing the same old, you know, I think it's about looking at, for us, because it's economics and enterprise, so it's about looking at the county as a whole, and we've got everyone from Google down to one person bands. So you'll see in, you know, looking at Enterprise Week, you know, we fly in people, you know, who are best in class, and so we get people who are at a different level in business. So we can look around a room and we can see CEOs there, and you know, so that's the
touch a base with them.
It's having fun as well. You know,
well,
I want to learn.
That's
it. And so I get people that I want to hear. You know, what we do.
It's interesting because we're going to touch base. You know, in the second half there, we're going to really home in on that Enterprise Week that you're having, the local Enterprise Week, which is on in March, and we're going to really delve into that.
Sure.
Eddie, just from the conversation we're having at the moment, you're part of the BNI. What is the BNI for people that don't know what it is?
I suppose BNI is the largest networking organisation of its type in the world. We have 270,000 members all over the world. It is, I suppose the difference between us and online is we look people in the eye, shake hands, build relationships, and they all help each other grow their business.
What, again, in that organisation, so it's a networking, you know, it's I joined it, as I said, many years ago, and I left it because I couldn't get up at 6 a.m. That's me.
Me too, I left it recently for the same reason.
Yeah, I'm not a morning person. If it was 2 a.m. and there was some music playing, you'd see me there. You know? But the question that I have, why are people going to it? Is it one-man band sort of business owners like ourselves that are going as a network and trying to build their business, or is it just people who want to get out of their office and network, meet people?
Well, we've a big mixture. We've got the one man in a van, the one man band, small businesses, startups, but we also have insurance companies, accountancy firms with 30, 40 staff employed, so it is a broad range across all the chapters of different sized business.
Why did you get into it yourself?
To recession proof myself. Way back in 2007, the recession obviously was coming at the time. I was running a web design business, ES Digital Media, which, as I said, I've sold since. And 2008, went to one of the meetings, saw the potential in it, and I have to say I increased my turnover tenfold in 4 years. Now, I have to say it wasn't all BNI. It was actually the enterprise board, the local enterprise board in Mullingar, helped me with that too. But I successfully grew 3 businesses from 2007 to 2012 because of BNI and other help.
Was that how much of that was from referrals? I mean, that's a big part of BNI, isn't it? The referral side of things.
Yes, I did. Funny enough, and I've always looked at these figures, and I've actually did very little work at the time for the members in the groups. It was actually their referrals and people that they knew.
Yeah.
BNI, you've got, let's say, 30 business owners or managers around the table early in the morning, as you said, 6:30 in the morning. It's a great time to be up. You see the sunrise. Yeah.
It's just sunset at that time.
I'm shaking my head.
Me too. Unfortunately, we can't do 2 a.m. nightclubs because we have to be up early in the morning. Yeah, you've got 30 people around the table who are willing to help each other with business. It's who they know. Each one of those people has 2, 3, 500 contacts. Yeah. And if you can tap into those, then you're surrounding yourself with a lot of business.
Who's it enough for?
Who's enough for people that can't get up early?
Yeah.
But we have rectified that recently.
Yeah.
Just in the last 6 months, including here in Tree Rock Hockey Club locally here, we have started 3 new 10 a.m. groups.
And Thomas, you were the man behind setting up that 10 a.m. club here. You must have heard me on the phone giving out to you all the time.
That's right. Yeah, I started the 10 a.m. To be honest, I started the 7 a.m. start, and we were getting some feedback as to, people were getting caught in traffic. There was people that had school runs and things, so we decided, okay, very early, we tried 10 a.m.
I love that idea.
So tried the 10 a.m. and got a completely different type of person coming to the 10 a.m.
So who were they? What kind of people?
We actually
They were more awake.
more awake, exactly. Yes.
That's grumpy.
What was interesting, there was we've quite a large male attendance, but there were more women interested in looking at it.
I was gonna think.
There was also men who were caught with the school run in the morning, where they were doing it. Now they can still do the school run and still continue with their business at 10 a.m. and we finish at 11:30 and on they go with their day's business. That's something as well. We don't go to a BNI meeting. We use the BNI structure as part of our marketing. It's part of our working day.
It's networking. It's everyone talks about networking, and we speak about human connection here all the time as well, and that's what makes business go round. And referrals have an awful lot to do with how we survive in our business as well. But we hear so much about networking, but then there's so many people that actually don't do it because they're caught behind their PCs, or they believe that they can just focus and run their business on LinkedIn. Saying that LinkedIn is my Rolodex. Are we starting to go back to networking? Because Ireland would be 1 degree of separation, really. Are we starting to go back to it, or is there still more work to be done?
I believe, even as a marketer, an online marketer, I use networking as one of my primary ways of generating business for myself. I don't know if you know it or not, but this is International Networking Week. Right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of networking going on this week in Ireland here. Eddie's been to
5 chapters this week.
Yes.
Yeah.
So meeting a lot of business people. Last Wednesday at 10 a.m. above in the Tree Rock Rovers, we had close to 40, I think it was 40 people in the room, and 2 people from Scotland that were over because of International Networking Week.
Wow. But getting back to networking and getting back to people connecting with other people, I sometimes hear people say, "Oh, I've gone to like a chamber meeting, or I've gone somewhere to one of these meetings, and the people that are in the room aren't my clients." And say someone will go in and they say, "Okay, everyone is, as you said, Eddie, a van driver, or someone who's running a small business," and he's going, "Well, none of the people are in this organisation are my clients. I deal with companies that 200, 300 plus with staff." How does when people are standing up and going, "Give me some references, I'm looking for business," how do you deal with that?
Well, I suppose that is the first impression somebody gets when they come to a B&A meeting first, is they look around the room, they hear everybody do a presentation on their business and ask for referrals. When they do that, what often happens then is they think to themselves, "Well, there's nobody here I can do business with." Well, what we always say to them, we do an orientation after that, and what I always say to them in that, or any of our members would say to them in that, is that you don't know who they're married to. You don't know who they play golf with. You don't know who's in their business, and that's what really we need to tap into in B&I. It's not who's in the room.
What about the lowest common denominator? Because I've been in networking, and do you have a mechanism to ensure that everybody gets something? That because there are always some people in networking groups who are always getting loads of business, and there are always some, the quieter, the more introvert, who struggle. Is there a mechanism to ensure that the whole group helps that person who struggles?
There is. We have a vice president in each chapter who runs a 4-person committee. And the committee meet every month, after the first meeting of every month, and they actually examine what we call our member PALMS reports. In those PALMS reports, we can see who's getting business, who's giving business, who is participating in the chapter, and who's not. And particularly then the committee would try and work with the person who is not getting enough from it.
That's great.
We're just going to take a quick break, and I'm just going to jump back down with Owen. And I want to just ask you have a mentoring programme within your organisation as well down in Dunleary. What are some of the issues that people come to yourselves and ask when they're starting off that business or that networking? So I'm going to just think about that, and we'll come back right after the break.
You're listening to Business Eye, sponsored by your local enterprise office in Dunleary Rathdown. Together, we're making it happen.
And welcome back to Business Eye. Just before the break, I was speaking to Owen, or was asking Owen a question about the mentoring programme that they have down in Dunleary for people who are, who have an idea, who want to move that idea into a business and don't know where to start. Owen.
Yeah, so it's an interesting question, and mentoring obviously comes in lots of flavours. You know, it starts off with someone who has an idea, and they just want a sense check, you know, and they want someone to ask them the why, and get that feedback, you know. And I think that's critically important, and it's a safe environment where someone can come and do that. And then you get someone, you know, I think all businesses, we get a lot of businesses coming to us. They're at various stages. So we get startup. They come to our Start Your Own Business program, or you run a Catapult program, which is for more high-tech businesses. And then there's lots in between. So, you know, if you're long-term in business and say you're working on your own, I think it's really important to have a sense check, to check in with somebody. We all know being in business that an effective board sometimes makes the difference between make or break, because you can be emotional in business and non-logical in your thinking, non-data driven.
Too attached and head in the sand.
Too attached, absolutely. And so a mentor, like a effective board, will be someone who can actually stop you in your tracks and kind of go and ask you why you're doing this, or why aren't you doing it.
So it's like a health check.
It is a health check.
It's a calibration, isn't it?
It is, you know, and everyone needs a reference point, you know, and they need to be kept on target. The other thing an effective board and effective mentor is good at doing, of course, is holding people accountable. You know, you said you were going to do X last time we met. Why haven't you done it? You know, no. And because if it made sense 2 weeks ago, is there a reason it doesn't make sense now? And if there isn't, why haven't you done it? Because I always think, you know, with businesses, we spend a lot of our time spinning our wheels, you know, doing the operational stuff. But I think, and the best advice I ever got was, you know, getting to a standard, or getting to a certain stage in your business, or achieving certain goals. It's one smallest step at a time, you know, and so you do spinning the wheels thing. But I think if you have a little post-it and you write one thing that you need to do that day or that week, that will help you achieve your strategic aims of growing and getting to where you need to be. And you don't leave the office till that's done, because that's the only bit that really matters. Yeah. If that's your end game.
But it's also very important that you can be honest with someone. That someone might come to you in different levels of business and go, look, I have this idea. That the experience and the knowledge of your team can kind of be honest with that person and say, you need to go back to the drawing board with this.
It does, and you know, I mean, I talk very generally about mentoring, but you know, we have and we try to get in particular expertise on our mentoring panel. So if we have someone who has a particular challenge in marketing, let's say, we can point them to that person. But of course, mentoring is a challenge as well. I think it's hard for mentors to say they don't know, you know, and I think it's really important that if you do have a mentor, that, you know, you have someone who isn't trying to. You can have bad mentors, and I've heard some very bad mentoring advice being given over the years, not from our mentors. But I think it's really important that you have a mentor who's comfortable enough, you know, admitting when they actually don't know.
My opinion on mentoring, and we spoke about this earlier as well, is about the difference between mentoring and coaching, and it's the person that's given the information has to be not giving it from their own ego self, but has to be doing it as interest in the person that they're giving it to. You know, instead of, you know, say, oh, I'm brilliant and I'm giving you this. That's the, you know, the pendulum is swinging there, that you have to really sort of, okay, let me put myself into their shoes, let me feel their pain, let me do that, and not let me just give information for the sake of giving it, for my voice to be heard. If you don't know, you don't know.
So some of the best mentoring is from people who aren't getting paid.
Yep.
And, you know, and people who are just
must be brilliant mentors.
Who want to give their time, who've been there, done that, and you know, they're happy to actually give someone a steer.
Wisdom is on it.
It really is.
Thomas, we were talking during the break about you know, people who struggle with networking and the different types of networking, and you were talking about your journey. Why did you get into networking? And that's the first question. The second question is, you mentioned different types of networking. So why did you get into it?
Okay, I started my first networking event back in 2007, and to be honest with you, I had no idea what I was going to, and I walked into this event. It was a supplier said to me that I needed to go there and promote the product, right, because I was trying to do telesales at the time, and I was feeling very uncomfortable with that. But as a result of going to this networking event, I was somebody that was very timid, couldn't walk across a room, and to present myself in front of 20 odd people, I just wasn't comfortable. But shortly after, somebody in that group saw this and decided that they would mentor me, as we've been talking about mentoring, and gave me some responsibility. As a result of doing all that, I found myself in a short period of time where I had joined the management team, we'll call it for now, in the BNI, started learning about networking and bringing training right through Ireland, eventually to the UK, Netherlands, Cyprus, and so on. And then found myself being able to stand in front of a couple hundred people on stage. So it's the self-development that I got out of it that I will never, ever forget from BNI. Right?
So the personal growth.
And
the mindset growth. I mean, you had all that skill in you. You just didn't have the confidence. You
Correct.
hadn't noticed it.
Correct. Yeah. Yes, that's it. And it was all brought out by BNI. Yeah. I will also, I've seen this several times over. I've seen another guy that would be a replica of myself back then, recently, stood up and says, when his turn came to present, I do this, thank you very much, and sat down. It took him 5 seconds, and that's all he was capable of doing, right? But since then, he's been able to do a 10-minute presentation, keep everybody engaged.
Yeah. You mentioned 3 types of networking.
Yes. There is different types of networking. One of the, I was asked actually at the latest one, BNI South City, on Wednesday, by a solicitor there, why is it every week? And the reason is there's 3 different types of networking out there. There's social networking, which would be like the GA and sports clubs. Yeah. There would be other ones then which would be soft networking, would be like the chamber. We go to them on an irregular basis, maybe even we get to know some people. Then there's hard networking. Hard networking is where BNI fits in. We meet on a regular basis, build solid relationships with one another, so that, and we meet every week because that facilitates build these relationships, getting to know one another's business, and also we are focusing on generating business for one another.
So you're building repeatable patterns that you can't avoid, you
exactly.
can't hide from.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yes, perfect. Yeah.
That's important. Yeah. Thanks.
It's interesting when we're talking about networking, and do the Irish feel embarrassed to ask people for business? Like when I say that, I mean about networking. Owen, you mentioned before that we do networking is different in America and in England compared to here. Do we need an education on networking?
I think it's funny because someone I know who works in a big corporate, they were having a networking event and they actually had some training on how to network before they had a networking event, which is kind of ironic because you would have said the Irish are incredibly well networked.
Yeah.
But we don't like to ask directly for business.
Yeah.
Like in America, it's like a sport. Yeah. You know, it's like, what can we do for each other? You know, are we relevant? Are we going to have a conversation? You know, can we have a conversation about business? And they politely move on. Yeah. But in Ireland, it takes us a while to get to the point. Some of us.
Eddie, would you agree with that the Irish have that innate skill, but there's a bashfulness there, and having that, creating that hardwired, repeatable methodology that BNI has is really, really more important probably in Ireland because of that bashfulness.
It is. Look, we're very well aware that Irish people can talk and talk for a very long time.
Yeah. And that's all they can do.
That's all they can do, But like Owen said, as in America, they will ask for an order and they will keep asking for an order until somebody tells them to go take a hike, right? Whereas in Ireland, we will say, well, if you like what you see, maybe you can give me a call next week. And whereas in BNI, we have our members trained to stand up every week and ask for, can I have a referral into?
But the Irish don't like to make a decision either.
No.
You know, and they don't want to offend. Yeah. So there is that, there is that type in business in here where, we're all out there and we're trying to hunt for business or get business, and you kind of go, like when I've worked with people in England, they go, no, and they go, great, and then you find out where it is. There's this footsie under the table. Wrecks my head.
I had that. I lived in Australia for 10 years, and I was used to, by the end of it, I got used to everybody saying, no, mate, not interested, or yeah, let's do it, right?
Yeah.
When I came back here 3 years ago, I must have spent the first year having coffee with about 500 people, never getting a yes or no, you know?
Yeah.
Well, that's what
Except a big coffee bill.
A lot of coffee.
well, that's what Freud said about the Irish, isn't it? You know, you can, impossible to psychoanalyze.
Yeah.
They actually won't give you straight answers.
It is true.
Do you know that I always realised, and it's the Irish answer a question with a question.
Yep.
And I believe that's back from the beginning of the century when we were asked questions in Dublin and you'd answer it. The mindset. So it's a question with a question. So
it is changing.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it is
changing.
definitely changing. It's evolving on it.
I know when you ask for a piece of business or an introduction into a particular company, you never know who knows who, and it has happened that people will get introduced to that individual.
But there is one thing that the Irish love doing, and if you can get this and build that into the business, they love helping.
Yep.
We love helping, you know, and it's helping without looking for something. You know, so I always say that if you ask people, you know, can you help me? You know, the amount of people that will jump up and help you. If you ask people, can I have some business? They go, no, but if you can help me, just word it differently.
And one of the things Owen said there, I think is really important, is that some of your best mentors are people that you don't pay.
Yeah.
People that actually care about what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really important because I think, and the Enterprise Board is a fantastic tool on this, but one of the things that happens, I see regularly in Ireland, is people go off and start a business based on a passion. And while that's fantastic, and we do need passion in business, is that they don't go to a mentor and say, look, I've got this idea, what do you think? And it just may not be a good business model to make a profit from.
The thing is, they get this great idea, they get their passion, and they ask their family, and the family go, that's a brilliant idea. And then from there, they'll go out and create a business without even going and honestly doing research, customers, checking them first, asking those right questions, knowing who they are. And asking your customers isn't doing up a survey, tick a box and send it out. It's speaking to people. And I think that's one of the things, and people go, oh great, says, who said this is a great business? Oh, my mother, my wife and my kids. Said, okay, who apart from them said it was? Oh, I haven't really spoke to anyone apart from that on it. Lads, I know you are leaving us now. We're coming to a break on it. If someone does want to reach out and join or find out more about the local network, where can they get information?
Well, for all of Ireland, bni.ie, or if they want to reach out personally to me for anywhere in Dublin, it's simple, eddie@bni.com.
I'm not going to ask you about your LinkedIn because it's not up to date on it.
I would also like to say just about the local one here, BNI South City, the 10 a.m. one over in Tree Rock Rovers on a Wednesday at 10 o'clock. They're currently running some introductory meetings, so next Wednesday and the Wednesday after.
Brilliant.
So anyone wants to turn up and see, come along.
That's great.
Great. Yeah.
Thomas, Eddie, thanks for coming into Business Eye, and we'll talk to you soon. I'm going to take a quick break, folks, and then we're going to speak to Owen in the second half. We're going to grill him on all the questions that all the people want to know in the area.
You're listening to Business Eye, sponsored by your local enterprise office in Dunleary Rathdown. Together, we're making it happen.
And welcome back to Business Eye. Yes, it's Friday. Yes, what are we, this first week or second week in February?
The end of the first.
It's all been a little bit hazy for me. It's bungling around like a buffoon all week, trying to figure out to tie my shoelaces. As the kids screaming at me, but it's been good. Yeah. It's a good. Speaking to a lot of people. January was extremely long for them, and people are starting to sort of now get that momentum rolling in on it as well, which is great. And with that momentum, we have Owen Laverty in here at the moment. Owen is from the local enterprise office in Dunleary Rathdown, and there, again, as the office always provides, some great workshops and events, which is happening in March, which is the Local Enterprise Week from the 2nd to the 6th of March. Owen, it's all yours. Tell me.
Fantastic.
Where did the idea come from? and how long it has been running is this Enterprise Week?
So it predates me, as in, well, that doesn't predate me, but it predates my time in the council. That's right. Yeah. And interest. So I don't know. I think it's about 4 years old.
I think it's about 4. Yeah. I know. I seen it pop on my radar about 4 years ago or so.
Yeah.
And it's great that what I love about it is that the people that you are bringing in and the expertise that they have and the price tag that you have for it as well, it's giving those business owners who are looking for the knowledge and can find it on their doorstep.
Yeah, absolutely. It's listen, we've over 20 events again this year. Every year we say we'll do less, and then we just can't resist.
I know that feeling.
And so, but it's a very hectic week. But our challenge is to find something for everybody.
Yeah.
And so we've identified areas which we feel will support businesses in growing, and increasing employment in the area, and essentially trying to make life easier for them. A lot of smaller businesses, it's really interesting to see the difference in training habits between large corporates and smaller businesses.
Yeah.
The skill set gap and the training gap is significant. So,
in which level? Lower or higher?
They don't get it in smaller businesses.
Okay.
Small businesses don't have the opportunity to train. They don't have the opportunity to get that mindset that is needed to be successful. I'll give you an example of a couple of programs we're running, and our challenge is that we have a very broad parish, and so we need to trying to be effective for everybody is always a challenge.
Yeah.
So everyone has a problem with pricing. It's amazing how people don't look at how people look at pricing and how casually they look at it and don't understand the impact. A 1% difference in your price can result in a 30% difference in your profit margin, and people don't know that. And actually knowing how to structure your pricing and how to present your pricing and the various products, etc., to the end user is critical. So that's kind of the lifeblood. Another thing, so we're doing a pricing workshop. So we have a guy called Sagi Julianki from Israel, who's a pricing expert, and his workshop, we're running it again this year because not everyone got to it last year, and it's so fundamental.
The information that I heard coming back from it last year was brilliant. It will be one that I will be attending this year.
It is. It's incredible. Yeah, it is, and it's game changing. So it's on at 7:30. So you might be able to make that one.
I will,
Joe.
Yeah.
Pajamas.
Or just stick it on your phone and record it.
Put the dressing gown. But then you get up to the So just to give an idea of the range. So I have a very strong interest in leadership and what is leadership, I guess. You hear good leadership is there's leadership. People have leadership in every different role. It's not just the CEO is a leader. We all are leaders in many different areas of our life, and it's a skill that we've never honed really, and we don't get a chance to think about it. Most of us don't really understand it. There's a great phrase that is often used, and it's called leading beyond authority or tenure. So it's not your position. You shouldn't lead from your position. You should actually lead from a place of authenticity.
Yeah.
And
belief systems, really, isn't it?
And influence.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's really important. And so there's an amazing system. Lift Ireland is a fantastic organisation. So it's formed by an amazing woman called Joanne Hessian. So it's liftireland.ie. And we are embedding Lift Ireland into the council and into the county, into businesses in the county. It's a very simple system. It takes half an hour every week. And the 6 people sit around a table, up to 6 people, and they work on what they've identified as 8 different areas. So you get to talk about areas that have been kind of pinpointed by businesses as being important characteristics for leaders to have. And so you work through those in half an hour, and it's incredible, the impact
It's like a speed kind of mentoring.
It's not mentoring at all, it's reflection.
Effectively, yeah.
It's reflection, and it's
deeper.
Absolutely. It's so this system it's a 25-year-old system, and Joanne adopted it from Paraguay. She found it, or came across in Paraguay, and adopted it for Irish businesses. But we're running, so there's an information session. We're doing a big event on the 6th of March in Killiney Castle, followed by a networking walk around Killiney Hill, and you'll get trained there. So it's a facilitator training session. So a facilitator can get trained in half a day. So it's gold dust. It's gold dust for families, for businesses, for sports clubs. It's being used,
but
very effectively.
With leadership, and within an organisation, it's important for the people there to be able to be honest, and for them to actually sit around with the other leaders or the team leaders and going, okay, as you said, let's reflect. Let's reflect on what's going on. Is it internally and externally? And see, can everyone in this table help me with an issue that I'm having?
Well, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, so including people in the conversation is really important.
Yeah.
And it's really, and I'll talk about the Lean program, which we're running as well. And leandlr.ie is a website we've dedicated to it. And through Lean and Lift are actually kind of partners. They're close cousins. With Lean, it's a lot of time through Lean, you're looking at your processes. You start off looking at processes to get improvements, but it always ends up being people-centric. So I'll give you a really simple example. You've kind of sparked this for me, Joe, is when you're looking at a process, you have to look at everybody involved in the process. And through that system, you often uncover who hasn't been included in conversations up until now.
Yeah.
So who has been missing from the boardroom table. That in itself is very empowering for the person who's finally invited in. And we all know the people at the front line really know what's going on.
Yeah.
And if they're not being listened to, then that's a challenge in your organisation, isn't it?
Yeah, I worked for Dell. I was the legal counsel here 20 years ago.
Oh, right.
And they did. I did the Lean program, it's Green and Yellow Sigma.
Yeah.
But the main benefit was that it did include people who didn't realise that they weren't even included in things. That's my biggest memory from it.
Yeah, it's very powerful.
It's very interesting because it's, I never put a label on it, but this is what we here at the radio station have done with everyone at the station to bring the radio station from a point that it was at to where it is now and where it's going. And that was in bringing everyone that mattered, the staff, the guys who were working on social, the managers, the engineers, getting them all involved and feeling that not that they're just coming into a place, but they're coming into a place that now is a community and they have a voice.
You need everyone on the bus.
That's a really good point, Joe. I mean, in my 7 or 8 months doing the show with you, I've seen I can see now the station is in an area that I would call a flow state, right? So that's an area of interest that I work on quite a lot with clients, and you can just see things are working here. You can feel and see it's work in a way that they weren't. There was a friction 7 months ago, invisible and a felt friction and actual friction. That flow state is what businesses really need.
And that's what we have created here. And by doing that, everyone then, when you walk into the place, everyone feels it, and the energy is good. And by doing that, we're empowering everybody in any organisation. What happens next is magical. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. And everybody feels it.
Yeah. Can I come back to just a point there on the, you were trying to get into what lift is and what lift isn't. And I'll just say it's not. It's experiential, like most of these things. But I'll just preface it by saying, like, we're emotional beings. We run on emotion, but emotion isn't really. We don't know how to deal with an emotion in a business world, in a business collegiate way. We don't know how to deal with it. We often don't know how to deal with it on a personal level either. And so, what lift is, it gives us that language and the tools, and it raises awareness of that piece and gives you permission. And that's it in its simplest level. But I think for the radio station, I think if you're doing amazing work, obviously, by the sounds of it, and it does feel like a very nice place to be.
Yeah.
But I would explore, we can get Joanne in to talk about Lift.
That would be good.
I think that's brilliant.
But
Yeah.
February the 19th, if you go to our website, localenterprise.ie/DLR, you'll see all the events for Enterprise Week. Plus, there's one on the 19th of February for people who can't wait until to the 6th of March.
Yeah. We were talking about mindfulness and mindset growth. What about programs around mindset growth? Do you have much in that space?
Well, it's interesting. So I train as an executive coach, and I'm a big fan of mindfulness. And so we did a session 2 years ago on executive coaching and mindfulness, and it was a bit risky, but it was amazing. So my view on mindfulness, and it was summed up by Ruby Wax, talking about in the Pendulum Summit 2 years ago. She said her PhD in it, and she said, listen, Mark, it's all about the amygdala hijack, and people should look that up. So basically, managing your life, not emotionally, but with data, or certainly business, through data, and making rational decisions for your business, not emotional decisions.
Yeah.
It's very important. We've got just a couple of minutes left, but I just want to pull back. And a lot of people believe that you're only focusing on small businesses, but it's more than that. You are helping the large companies as well, and you're helping there's this mindset when I was asking people, said, they're only just helping startup, and I want to clarify that it's more than just startups that you help.
Yeah, so very quickly, the local enterprise office helps micro enterprises, which is 10 or below. Yeah. Okay, so we can grant aid to those. Because I look after economics for the region as well, we've expanded out the Enterprise Week to include, SAGI, Lean, Lift, and raising finance. And, there's some amazing speakers in there, including yourself, Joe, who's doing sales, and you did an amazing job last year, very, very well attended. You weren't shy at all.
There's people actually I bumped into are asking me when is it on, and I told them, and their eyes lit up that they're going to be going. Yeah,
all these things, in my view, these things are, and this is what Lift says about leadership skills and all the rest. It's like a muscle. You got to keep reminding yourself.
Yep.
And if you don't, you lose it, because we're surrounded by other pressures and other influences. So we got to keep coming back.
That's the key. The key is the balance. You have to have the mindset for growth, but you can't sustain. You need to also have the mindfulness to sustain it. There's two parts of it.
You do.
Most people just focus on one or the other.
Absolutely.
Owen, where can people, if they want to jump on, I know we have the link up and the hashtag is making things happen, but if people want to reach out, what's the web address there for them to reach out to?
So for Enterprise Week, it's enterpriseweekdlr.ie. And then our own website is localenterprise.ie/DLR. You'll get all the information on the second one as well. Yeah, if you have any time to take down one address.
We'll post them up on social and share them out as well. I think for the week that's in it in March, it's a month away. If you're a business owner or you're looking to get in business or you're working within a company, it's a week that is a must. The tickets roughly are around €10, so it's beyond value, really beyond value.
David Mead who I haven't spoken about. Look at David Mead, meade.co.uk. David works with Harvard, with huge corporations around the world. Very, very hard guy to get. You're not going to get to see him for a tenner anywhere else. Yeah. And we could have a separate session on David.
You wouldn't get it. You wouldn't get a bag of chips and a cup of coffee now for a tenner.
You wouldn't. No, you really wouldn't.
Educated. You wouldn't.
Well, it's all about supporting businesses. That's what we're here for.
Simon, what's your plans for next week?
I'm off to the UK to co-deliver with Justin Caffrey our Driving Business Growth Mindset and Mindfulness program at Southampton University, and we're doing a bit of work with ISME as well in deal closing. So busy week. Yeah, busy week.
Myself running a mastermind next Tuesday in the Royal Marine, and people can catch it on my website joedalton.ie, and we are then also the Conscious Business Academy We're rolling that. We've rolled it out. We're speaking to a couple of companies now on conscious leadership, soulful selling, collective culture, and mindful marketing.
Perfect.
That's what they want to talk about. So, all on it. Folks, it's been great. We've had some super guests in today. Owen, thank you for coming in again. And Owen, let's organise another show on that gentleman that you spoke then as well. So there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Lot going on in community. Folks, have a super weekend. Remember, there's a storm arriving in the morning, so winter woolies on, get the galoshes out. Have a safe, super week, and we will catch you again next Friday. Business Eye